Is African science being erased? Ever wonder why your science textbooks never mention African innovations? The answer is rooted in a complex story of power and whose science gets remembered. For generations, African communities have been scientists in their own right, predicting weather patterns, developing medicines from local plants, and developing sustainable farming practices. But when was the last time you saw these methods in science textbooks or taught in classroom? In episode 48 of Africa Science Focus, with support from the Science Granting Council initiative, we are exploring how we can revive Africa's indigenous science knowledge. As Temilade Sheson, a Nigerian social development researcher from the University of Ibadan, explains, the solution starts in our classrooms. She says decolonizing science must start with education, teaching in African languages, and developing research that speaks to our realities. But education alone isn't enough. Ayodele Ibiemi, a US-based Nigerian cultural researcher, says policies that integrate indigenous and modern science must be activated. Otherwise, Africa risks centuries of indigenous knowledge and science that caters to its own peculiarities. And Kenneth Mugero, a Kenyan biotechnologist, tells us of his plans to promote indigenous science through education, starting with primary schools and connecting students with indigenous knowledge holders. He says science must be made relatable enough for young people to see their culture in it and engage with it. In Kenya, traditional rainmakers continue to accurately predict weather patterns, showing how indigenous knowledge remains relevant today. Indigenous science knowledge isn't just tradition, it's science, it's innovation, and it's time we started listening. Listen to the full episode on SciDevNet or search for Africa Science Focus on your podcast app.